is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Let's go, baby.
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com.
We were on the break.
With Nick Eatman, David Hellman, Ambar Garcia, and Derek Eagleton.
It is Tuesday, December 10th, 2019, season 15, episode number 96. Welcome to another edition of The Break. We are live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. It's a Tuesday, so you know what that means. That means we got a lot of topics we want to hit. Our infamous Gumbo Show. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We also want to hear from you guys. The number is 888-855-2297. Again, 888-855-2297. If you should have questions or comments or topics that you'd like us to hit, feel free to give us a call. We'll talk about that stuff. But we got to start first with the NFC East. I'm assuming by that look on Dave's face that says he's tired. He watched that game last night, and I'd love to hear
physically or tired of like the NFC East in general.
Of it all, right?
Yeah.
But I'd love to hear from all you guys what your thoughts were last night as you were watching the Eagles and the Giants play, and just how the game transpired.
Eli looked like Peyton to start the game, and then he turned into Eli at the end of the game. That's what it looked like to me. No, he had a great moment. It was awesome, but then, the Giants aren't any good. The Eagles aren't any good. But they got a little bit of momentum there, and that's good. I mean, the Cowboys are not going to be able to just, back their way into this. They're going to have to win a game to make it into the playoffs, win a couple games. So, it's like they don't really deserve to get it just handed to them on a platter like that. You're going to have to actually win. So that's what it was.
For all the problems they're dealing with, they looked pretty good just slicing right downfield in overtime like they did. I know the Giants aren't good, but the Eagles looked terrible for most of the night, and then when the chips were down, they looked like a team that wasn't ready to call it a season just yet, which this the division race isn't over if they lose that game, but they're in a heck of a tough spot because if the Cowboys win one and they lose one, any combination of the next three, then it's over. So they bought themselves some breathing room,
and then jumped into the lead. They jumped into not the lead, but they have probably have a better chance to make the playoffs than the Cowboys.
Honestly, it's gonna be that game, just like we've been saying. Not mathematically, but the Eagles have Washington, they're banged up as well. Darius Geis isn't going to play next weekend. It's going to be that December 22nd.
And
game.
Philly had was it their right tackle? Someone else was hurt. They've had a ton of injuries this year in that game, right? Didn't they lose
Lane
someone?
Johnson is hurt. Alshon Jeffrey left the game. Deshaun Jackson hasn't played for most of the year.
On IR.
They had one, JJ Arcega-Whiteside, or JJ Arcega-Whiteside, as Joe Tessitore kept saying last night, that's probably the correct pronunciation, but it just cracked me up.
Who knows?
They had one receiver left by the end of that game. Like Zach Ertz was playing receiver. I thought he said after the game he played every skill position but running back.
I saw that Josh McCown was changing his helmets to be ready to go out as a receiver.
It was.
They were going to have to do what they had to do at that point, yeah.
But if you just look at it from a mathematical standpoint, let's say the Eagles beat Washington and the Cowboys lose to the Rams next week. That puts them both at. That puts the Eagles in the lead.
Ahead, yeah.
But then they play each other.
Right.
So again, and then if the Cowboys beat the Eagles on December 22nd, they've got a relatively bad Washington team to wrap it up. Like I said, not mathematically, but it all seems like it's going to hinge on when they play each other.
So what you've seen and what you saw last night from the Eagles, really what you've seen all season, do you think if right now you had to decide which of these two teams you think is better, the Cowboys or the Eagles, which way do you side on that? You have to remember the fact that the Cowboys have basically beaten the NFC East, and they've beaten Miami, and they've beaten – who's the other team I'm missing?
Detroit. You
Lions.
have to say the Cowboys.
You have to say the Cowboys.
Don't you? Because they played each other. That's the thing. That's what it's the whole college football thing. It's like if they actually play each other, then you can determine who's better than who. You have to go head to head. And right now, the Cowboys have absolutely destroyed the Eagles and pretty much every other team in that division.
Do you not give any deference to the fact that the Eagles beat better teams. They beat the Packers. They beat the Bills.
Lost
Do
to
you
the
give me
Dolphins at home.
True, yeah.
I
And so
don't know.
the point I'm making, though, is it seems like both the teams are a bit schizophrenic and all over the place. But if you look at it and you say, well, which of the teams shows that they can turn it on, and when they turn it on, they can be pretty good, I think I have more faith in the Eagles based upon some of the wins that they've had. I haven't seen the Cowboys go and get a better team yet this year. Like, most of the time when they play better teams this year, they've lost, or every time they've lost.
I think I'm with Nick, but it's hard to say that because they are mired in so much stink right now. Like, it's been since the Eagles game, really, since anybody felt great about where the Cowboys were. Like, they beat the Giants. They looked bad for 3/4 of that game. It wasn't an impressive win. The Lions game didn't have anybody fist pumping. So it's been a while, but they did beat the brakes off that Philly team. Philly's banged up. Philly's got some ugly losses on their resume. I think the Cowboys are the more talented of those two teams, but I'm not trying to convince anybody that they should feel good about them right now.
Yeah.
But I think what the Eagles have in front of them seems to be a better road. They got to go at Washington, which they could easily lose that game.
Yeah.
But they have Cowboys at home.
It's all division games for them, right?
And then the Giants on the road.
And by the way,
I wonder
go ahead.
what the Giants are going to do. Is Eli going to play that last game? I don't know what Daniel Jones' situation is, but it's just final.
Try to get him to 500.
Well, what is he? What do you mean?
He's one below 500 for his career. He lost last night, dropped him below 500 for
Any
his
Hall
career.
of Fame quarterbacks below 500 in their career?
If Joe Montana's not below, he's right at it. not Montana.
No.
I'm sorry.
I'll say Montana.
Namath.
Okay.
Namath.
Is Namath in the Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Yeah. What?
What do you mean, what?
And that's
Really terrible.
Joe
It doesn't matter. Like,
Joe Namath
he called his shot. That's
Fine.
why he's
and
known,
that's
right?
and that's why Eli will be in the Hall of Fame too.
Joe
Like,
Flacco should have done that then.
iconic
We
should
will
have.
win.
iconic moments.
We're
Yeah, it
going to
is.
beat the 49ers. The lights are going to go out, but we're going to beat the 49ers.
We've
That's what
said
he should have said.
We've
Joe
said it
Flacco.
before. Like, that's the whole story about it is if you can't tell the story of the NFL without mentioning their name, they probably belong in. I don't know if I necessarily ascribe to that because I think there's some guys that are intricate to the story of the NFL that aren't Hall of Fame players, and I think
that.
Eli's kind of one of them.
I hate that argument because as a writer, when people ask you to write a story, the first question is, how long do you need it to be? So how long is the story?
It's volumes.
Can you tell the Cowboy story without Tony Romo?
That's
You
kind of
can
my point.
If it's quick.
If you want to tell a story of the NFL, Tony Romo had a
great
place
point.
in NFL history. That doesn't mean he's a Hall of Fame player.
What
right?
place?
Well,
I think that a guy coming from being undrafted to getting to the point where he was considered to be a really, really good quarterback, that's a part of the
I
story.
already got that story.
Kurt Warner?
Yeah, that guy actually was working at Kroger or whatever.
I get it. I'm just saying, though, that's still a part of if you were to tell your kids, if you're trying to tell your kids about the NFL, I think that's an interesting story about the history of the NFL. My point, though, is just because the story is interesting to the history of the league doesn't mean it's a Hall of Fame player. And in this instance, I don't necessarily see Eli Manning as a Hall of Fame player, but that's my opinion.
I do. But that's okay. We don't have to do that. We don't have to do that.
It's all about their defensive front. That's how they won the Super
Okay.
Bowls.
That's
Just saying.
We don't have to do this right now.
Go ahead.
But I
bet-
think he's going to be in the Hall of
Yeah, I
Fame.
bet Terry Bradshaw.
Yeah, he will
Their
be.
defense was pretty good too.
Make no mistake about it, he will be in the Hall of Fame. No doubt about it. All right, let's move on. Actually, let's go ahead and take our first break. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about Jason Garrett and something he said about some changes that could possibly be happening. I'm going to get some opinions from these guys on what that could possibly mean. And we'll be right back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
I'm Jay Novacek, former tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. Back in the day, I was the guy who always got the tough yards, and that's why I run with John Deere today. In fact, I have a John Deere 3025E tractor that can handle any yard work I need to do, even the tough yards way out back. So if you have 1 acre or 1,000, John Deere has the equipment that's just right for you. Visit a John Deere dealer today and run with us. We are the official tractor provider of your Dallas Cowboys.
Whether you're into being a part of this or more into something like this, SeatGeek has the tickets to the events you love. It's the easiest way to find, buy, and sell tickets. Plus, with their Deal Score technology, they'll recommend the best seats in the house at the best value. So the next time you're craving this, download the SeatGeek app and let's go. SeatGeek.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Ready? Okay. Give me an S. S. Give me an O. O. Give me an S. S. Give me an O. O. What's that spell?
So.
Are we gonna win?
Not if we play like we cheer.
Just okay is not okay. Whether it's cheerleaders or your wireless network, AT&T is America's best wireless network. Best network based on GWS 1 score September 2019.
Back to the break.
Welcome back. It is the second segment of the break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. It's our Gumbo Show. We got a lot of stuff we're getting into today. I want to talk about Jason Garrett. There was a comment he made recently and I thought was kind of interesting. And I want you guys to paint some color to this because I'm not really quite sure who or what he's talking about here. But here's the quote. He said, the guys who earn the playing time by playing the right way are going to play more. Obviously, you can't swap everybody out. That's not what we're talking about. But we have to look for opportunities to play the guys who play the right way and have done that consistently when they've gotten opportunities. My question for you guys would be, who could he be talking about here?
My thought, I guess, for when you think about who would be getting more playing time, when you think of all the positions, I think DBs. I don't know. I don't think they offensively on the offensive line. I don't necessarily think they make changes there. I don't think they're doing anything with receivers. I mean, you have Gallup and you have Cooper and then, slotting guys, but that's my thought.
I don't
know if that means Jordan Lewis.
That's the thing. That's why we got to talk about something. I get it, but it's frustrating comment because what is the right way? Your right way? Is that, toes on the line for a national anthem? Is that the right way? I mean, what's the right way? Is it not dancing when a guy's hurt? Is it being in your gap? I mean, what are you talking about? Being a disciplined player, being a good player? I don't know, and he doesn't want us to know. He just wants to throw something out there to say, yeah, I'm going to make some changes because we've lost 3 in a row, so I'm going to make some kind of changes. I'm not going to tell you what they are. I'm not going to tell the Rams what they are. But, yeah, I'm going to do some things differently.
So let me change the question. Let's not try to get in his head because that's a futile endeavor. Let's say if it were you and you were looking at this team and you were saying, we got 3 games left. I've seen how these guys have played to this point. Who are some guys or some positions that you feel like there is an opportunity maybe to upgrade what you're doing by getting this guy more opportunities even at the expense of this other player?
Oof. Upgrade. And that's what I was going to say is I agree with what Nick was just saying. Like the right way, like that to me, that doesn't mean good. Like if you had better players, you'd play those guys.
Right.
Like that doesn't, to me, that doesn't say like, we're going to like, oh, we've got this cornerback who's better than Cheeto, but we just haven't been playing him. No. Like that to me, I mean, and again.
Are we sure that's not the truth though?
Do you think they have a corner who's better than Cheeto who hasn't been playing?
I will say this. I've been more impressed with the opportunities or with what Jordan has done with the opportunities he's gotten than what I've seen from Cheeto this year. So my question would be,
but Jordan's
is it worth
playing?
I understand that, but would it be worth in situations where there's only 2 cornerbacks on the field as opposed to 3? Because Jordan is out there typically when they're in nickel. So my question is, should this be a situation where maybe he should be the guy that's starting and playing more when they're in their base defense and bringing Cheeto in, even though Jordan will slide into the slot, bringing Cheeto in whenever they go to nickel?
I don't know.
They could do that.
They could. That's like 20% of snaps. I don't know. Like I have which, again, to go back to my point is like, and I hate to infer because I could be wrong, but I hear that quote and it sounds like a shot to me at guys who are not playing maximum effort, maximum discipline, maximum what the coaching staff asks of them. Like that is what I infer from that quote. And for me, I mean, based on the last game that we saw, I'm thinking about linebackers and I'm thinking about safeties, honestly. And again, you're kind of in a bind in some of those spots. Leighton Vander Esch can't play right now.
Right.
Jeff Heath, maybe he can get back for this game against the Rams, but it's definitely not a sure thing. So again, you're shorthanded. So Jalen Smith hasn't been playing well. I don't think Xavier Woods played a great game the other night. Maybe, you got Joe Thomas and Sean Lee. Maybe you bump them up into the rotation a little bit more. I know. I can hear people clamoring for Donovan Wilson, but I don't really think that's going to happen.
I don't know if they trust him to do any better. Right?
And if Jordan Lewis, if they think that he could give them a boost in base, then I don't have a problem with that. It just doesn't seem like a big enough sample size of plays for me to get worked up about it.
One of the things that I think they could do differently is maybe not so much changing the personnel, but how they rotate it. Especially on the defensive line. If you think about it from a standpoint of a basketball coach, you might play 10 players, but just because you're 6 minutes into the game, you don't take all 5 out and put 5 new in and see how that works. You kind of sprinkle them in and out. That's what I think they should be doing with the D-line. There was a game, the Buffalo game, where a couple of weeks ago, where they actually drove the length of the field, and it's just like, well, we're going to go with the whole backup. The B team actually goes out there together. Tristan Hill, Kerry Hyder, Dorrance Armstrong, and at that point, Michael Bennett. And I'm like, why? You're only a couple of series into the game. And then we saw something really interesting.
Yeah, I was wondering if you're going to get to that.
Very interesting at the end of the Bears game. They're down, I believe, 10, 3rd and 7. Bears about a couple minutes to go in the game, and Michael Bennett's on the field, and Michael Bennett basically points to 2 linemen to get on the field for this 3rd down play. I don't care what the rotation is. Get on the field. And it was D-Law and Robert Quinn, and then Hyder and Armstrong kind of came out. That's maybe a shot at the coaching staff or at those guys.
I forgot about that. That was really – he was standing at midfield like, get out here.
Come on.
Honestly, it could be the coaching staff, but I also think my question would be if he is the one that's calling for them.
Yeah. Maybe it's the players.
Tank makes enough money where if he's like, I'm going in, whoever's in there is coming out, right? He could call his own plays and say, I need to be out there right now. So if Michael Bennett is the one summoning him out, then why wouldn't he take himself out there? It would be my question, right?
Yeah. I'm starting to think like the whole Hot Boys thing, there's some negativity to it when you think about it. Just like we always said, next man up has got its downfalls because you can't just say, well, next guy up. Put him in there because it's not the same. You have to do things differently because he doesn't play as well. So sometimes this whole group of we're in this together. I get what Tank was trying to do and all that, and it worked well last year. But it's not a group of 9 guys that are all equal. So just because this particular guy has the cap, that doesn't mean that he can play on 3rd and 9 when you need him to.
And if all of them are equal, then they should be paid equal.
Right.
They're not.
Certainly not.
They're not.
And we know that.
When you're paid at a premium, then the expectation is that you're going to play at a premium. That means when there are money downs out there, the money man needs to be on the money downs, I would think.
No doubt.
Which this is what I keep thinking about when we talk about this. Again, the quote is the right way. That's defense just all the way. Is there? You go along the offensive lineup. Sure, they could get better production from tight end. Jason Witten isn't what he used to be, but is he not playing the right way?
Right.
I doubt that very much. Yeah. And Xavier Su'a-Filo, is he not? They could get better play from their left guard, but is he not playing the right way? I doubt it. And Jerry Jones, every time he's talked since the Chicago game, he's harped way more on the defensive shortcomings than anything else. So that's. I think that is where the ire of this team is right now. Is this defense is just not performing.
Xavier Woods, maybe Jeff Heath comes back and actually it's Thompson that stays in the lineup. I don't know. I'm not trying to single out Xavier Woods here.
How much you think the Cowboys are now regretting their decision on draft day to not take a safety with that pick in the 2nd round? Even absent what they've gotten from Tristan Hill, just thinking about it from the standpoint of has Xavier really developed to the point that they thought he would or should? And looking at the 2 young safeties who we've mentioned before and what they've done so far this year, do you think the Cowboys are regretting just the idea that they could have upgraded their safety position?
Probably. I would think so. And even before injuries, I think they knew, before Jeff Heath, Kayvon Frazier is still out. I think they probably, I would assume, would be, we'll be okay this year. We'll look into safeties next year when some of the contracts are up. But I think in hindsight, when you look, it's something they should have taken into more consideration and maybe made a move for.
I think that's exactly right. I guess my pause or my hesitation was because, like, are they ready to call that a mistake? Like, and that's what I always joke. Like, it's not a bad idea. It's a bad idea until it's their idea, or it's not a good idea until it's their idea. Like, are they ready to say that? I don't know. Like, maybe, they have a much better read on where Tristan Hill is and how he's developing than I do. Like, maybe, yeah, that's a project for the next month or so, is to be like, are you guys out on this guy yet? Because I just feel like they're probably not, even if I do think it was probably a mistake.
And also then you look at the trade that they almost made with Jamal Adams. Do they look back now and go, well, we're glad we didn't do that? Or which they would have, could he have changed a few games here and there? He did get hurt, but I mean, there's no telling that he would get hurt there.
And the thing about it is he's a guy that you got last year you got your lift from Amari Cooper, and it basically got you rolling into the playoffs. Maybe that could have been that sort of guy for you this year. That could have been that much of a difference maker for you to where it kind of wins some of these games that you otherwise will lose.
I don't think he's on IR.
He is hurt.
But he is hurt.
So that's 2 years in a row that a guy that almost got traded to the Cowboys, he ends up getting hurt right after the deadline, right? Or after the deadline. Didn't Earl Thomas get hurt?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he messed up his leg.
Right.
Didn't he?
Safeties.
Get carted off the field?
Sure did. He had something to say about it, too.
He didn't say it.
He didn't say it.
And who knows where the season would have gone. And obviously, I don't think they'd feel bad about trading for Jamal Adams. But if a regime change is coming, then I think they'll be happy about having a first-round draft pick heading into this new time.
Yep.
So, and me, as somebody who covers the draft, is very happy about that. So
let's take a call real quick. We got a call from Chris in Connecticut. Chris, what up?
Hey, good afternoon, guys. Appreciate you taking my call.
Yep, what you got?
Just first, I want to say, as much as it pains me to say kudos to the Eagles, they picked themselves off the ground and found a way to win that game last night. Unlike the Cowboys, who don't seem to be able to come back from a 3-point deficit, let alone 14. But my question to you guys is this: how is it that we know going into the game, or they know going into the game, even as a layperson, we are really vulnerable to the screens. We're really vulnerable to running quarterbacks. And it's just, it's game after game after game, and yet they don't seem to prepare. It's, you see them line up the same way. You can see it coming, and I just don't understand it. Do you think it's the function of the players that they have playing in the wrong scheme, or is it the scheme that's wrong? In that, have other teams just figured us out? We've become so predictable. I just would love to hear your thoughts on that. Is it the players or is it the scheme? Because something's not right.
Yeah. Well, I will say congratulations. You always want to be the first to do something. I think he's the first one to ever call and say kudos to the Eagles on here. I don't know if anyone's ever said that before.
It's all good.
No, it's all good. It's fine. They did pick themselves up, but they did get down by 14 to the Giants. I mean, I don't think they figured it out. I think that they won a game, but I don't think that they're any good, and the Cowboys aren't any good. They're just whoever's gonna, walk into the door here, last will win it. But scheme or players, Danny, you go. You take that.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that's what's frustrating is the way they haven't been able to defend mobile quarterbacks. And I struggle with whether or not it's players because for the most part, this is a lot of the same players as last year. I mean, we haven't had Leighton. I know you have Robert Quinn and stuff, but I don't know that they've necessarily changed the scheme up so much. So I'm not sure if it's players just aren't performing for whatever reason that is. I know tackling has been such a large issue this year, and I mean, the coaches can't go out there and tackle for them. So I guess I would lean more to the players just not performing well.
I just thought of something when you said that. You remember how last season ended?
Mm-hmm.
What play won the game for the Rams? It was a Jared Goff.
Bootleg.
Yeah.
And by the way, in that game, it was a ton of misdirection and all that kind of.
But not really with him.
Yeah. But they got run all over by C.J. Anderson.
And Gurley, and then at the end, it was that play.
Yep.
So, because I was thinking, well, who do they play this week? They play Goff. Well, he doesn't really.
Well, neither did Trubisky.
Yeah. Well, I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, well, maybe Goff won't hurt. No, it's if you can. Anybody better than Eli would probably hurt him. running, with their legs. That's just the way it is.
The answer is always going to be both.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't tell me the scheme doesn't work purely because this is the scheme that created the most dominant defense in modern NFL history. Like, a lot of single high, cover 3, Chris Richard's. It worked gangbusters in Seattle. Why did it work so well? They had Hall of Famers everywhere. Why did it work so well last year? Guys were playing like Pro Bowlers on all levels of the field. Byron Jones was erasing the right side of the defense. The linebackers were making good reads and making athletic plays. And I think that's the source of a lot of frustration is, Jason Garrett, we associate it with offense a lot, but it's defense too. It's like, well, if we do this at the highest level possible, we'll be pretty good, or we'll be very good. And they did it last year. And I think, teams spend an offseason. Teams try to figure out Dak. They also try to figure out your linebackers. Like, oh, Jalen Smith doesn't change direction in space very well. Let's take advantage of that. Let's take advantage of the aggression of this defense and misdirect and do a lot of stuff like that. And again, if they were playing at an all-pro level, if Leighton Vander Esch was completely healthy and playing better than he did last year, he'd probably be sniffing a lot of stuff like this out. But he's not. Part of that, maybe, your development or lack thereof. Injuries are part of it too. Coach's unwillingness to adjust from what had worked before. It always ties together. So I don't think the scheme is bad on its own. But the scheme is bad when the players aren't operating at it at an elite level. And when you combine that with the coaching staff's unwillingness to tweak it to make up for their deficiencies, you get a bad product.
Yep, you hit the nail on the head because if you listen to what the players have been saying after all of these losses, every single one of them, what I hear over and over in the locker room is, we beat ourselves. We just need to play better. We just got to figure out how to play better. Well, what happens in the instance where you cannot play better? You are playing as good as you can based upon where you are. Like if you're Jalen Smith and your limitations are your limitations and teams have figured out what your limitations are, you're not going to get any better. You're not going to overcome that limitation necessarily. So that's where I get back to, if it's up to the coaches at that point to realize what we're asking of our players, they are not capable of doing. Yeah, we can say you got to be better, but you're not going to make me turn into Deion Sanders. Like, it's not possible, right? And that's where you have to kind of change up what you're doing because you may be asking something of your players that they're just not capable of doing.
Yeah, but it goes back to what Danny said. If you can't tackle, I mean, a lot of it is simple stuff, too.
Yeah, but a part of that may be I missed the tackle because I recognized what was going on late, so I take off running full speed. Now I get out there and I'm over pursuing, and now the guy makes a move and he cuts back against me, and bam, I've missed the tackle. Yeah. So there are a lot of things that can go into missing the tackle other than just I didn't wrap up.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it's everything. It really is. I mean, they're going to have a new coach. I think we all know that Jason Garrett is not going to be the coach next year because they're not going to get hot. There's nothing that says this team's going to get hot. And if they do, you know what? Call in and say you were wrong, and I'll be like, I was wrong, because they're not going to get hot, and it's going to take something, and it's going to take a Christmas miracle and a New Year's miracle to get them to enough where you're like, I got to keep Jason Garrett. It's not going to happen.
We always joke. Michael Myers, we don't have to do it, but if in the back of your mind, I want to know from all of y'all, like the percentage. I think we would all agree that you're right. But what is the percentage in your head that they could get hot? Like you're like, is it 0?
Every time
1%?
No, you know what it is? After you ask me that at the end of every game, I'm like 0%. They are who they are. They're done. And then by about Thursday or Friday, same thing that Amber was saying last week. About Thursday or Friday, I'm kind of like, I still do think this team has some talent. I still do think maybe they can turn it on. I still did see them last year after they had a dismal first half just turn it on and go crazy. So maybe they have it in them. So right now, I'm probably feeling like there's still a 50-50 chance that they somehow show up.
50?
Yeah.
Well,
my point is it's a toss-up. What I know of this team is they are a toss-up. I don't know who they are.
They're not a toss-up. They're not a toss-up.
You're right. They're not a toss-up. But my mind keeps telling me I have experience knowing that this team is better than what they are.
Okay, hold on.
But better than what they've shown.
Wait, real quick. I want Danny's answer.
Okay, is this
it's
for
both.
this week?
It's Sunday.
See, that's the thing. We had different answers.
I think it's going to be getting hot in a misleading way. I think if they come out and they beat Philly, who's terrible, and then they beat Washington, who's terrible, and they're going to say they have this momentum going into the playoffs, winning the division, and I don't think it's going to be a real momentum because you just beat terrible teams. I don't think it will be getting hot in the sense that it will help them.
Do we all think they're going to make the playoffs?
I don't see it right now.
That's because most people, I talk to fans on Twitter all the time. Like, most fans seem to think it's like 6 or 7 wins. They're like, we're winning one, if maybe any more.
Yeah.
And I don't think I believe that.
I think it's a toss-up. Honestly, just like I said about them getting on a run, I think it's a toss-up whether they win the division. I think it's a toss-up whether they get to the playoff. I just think all of this is, in my opinion, a 50-50. It is no different than basically flipping a coin because I don't have a handle on when or if this team has the ability to turn on. I know they've got talent, but for whatever reason, it ain't showing up. And so does that, at some point, can they figure out a way to get that switch to flip? Or if not, they'll continue to be who they are.
It's interesting because they don't have to get hot like right now. They don't even really have to get. They can just kind of, like she said, just kind of stumble along and just win enough games and let the Eagles be the Eagles, and you can still kind of back into this thing. But are you good enough to beat the Vikings or the Seahawks or whoever is going to be sitting there as the 5 seed? Yeah, the crowd will be hot and it'll be flat. They'll have the white towels going and all that good stuff. But will it be good enough to win? Yeah. I mean, and it hasn't been yet. They don't have to beat a team with a winning record to get into the playoffs. They don't. They can lose Sunday, beat the Eagles, beat the Redskins, and they're in.
Yep. All right, let's take our final break. When we come back, I want to talk about something that Jerry had to say this morning on his radio show. Pretty interesting stuff. We'll be right back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
Ready? Okay. Give me an S. S. Give me an O. O. Give me an S. S. Give me an O. O. What's that spell?
So.
Are we gonna win?
Not if we play like we cheer.
Just okay is not okay. Whether it's cheerleaders or your wireless network, AT&T is America's best wireless network. Best network based on GWS One score September 2019.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again for Tailgating with the OtterBox Boys.
OtterBox, the company that builds wildly overprotective phone cases?
The one and only. But cases are just the start. OtterBox is the official outfitter of tailgating.
If they can keep my phone safe, what can they do for my parking lot party?
How about protecting your beverages from suboptimal drinking temperatures with their elevation tumblers? And OtterBox elevation tumblers come in 3 sizes: a 10-ouncer, a 20-ouncer, and even a 64-ounce growler.
Check out all the colors and sizes of their elevation tumblers at otterbox.com.
Whether you're into being a part of this or more into something like this, SeatGeek has the tickets to the events you love. It's the easiest way to find, buy, and sell tickets. Plus, with their deal score technology, they'll recommend the best seats in the house at the best value. So the next time you're craving this,
Hey! Blue 20!
download the SeatGeek app and let's go. SeatGeek.
Hey Cowboys Nation, this season when the Cowboys win, you get to experience the sweet taste of victory because if the Cowboys win, the next day Dunkin' is offering a free medium hot or iced coffee. So don't just celebrate the Cowboys' success from the sidelines, head to Dunkin' and treat yourself to real victory. Because this season, Cowboys fans aren't only winning on game day, they're winning the next day too with a free medium coffee. Cowboys Nation runs on Dunkin'. Excludes cold brew. Limit 1 per guest. Participation may vary. Limited time offer.
Back to talking. Back to the break.
Santa Claus is coming to town. He is. I mean, that's a fact. And
you sure?
Yeah, it's a fact. I'm reading it right now. You have a chance to take a photo with Santa at the Star this holiday season. Santa Claus will be at the Cowboys fan-themed set on Fans United at the Star in Frisco now through December 24th. For more information or to book your photo, visit thestarinfrisco.com/Santa.
I have an idea. As a family, why don't we all go out and take a family picture with Santa?
That would actually be really funny.
Dave would sit you on his lap, right?
Sure.
And me and Nick will stand beside on either side as the parents, right?
I think Santa would regret that decision quickly.
I think this would actually be kind of cool.
I would laugh.
It would be
great. Do we bring Danny, AG,
we bring
or both?
Okay, we bring both. We might even invite Kyle since he does the board for us.
Might.
Yes.
All right.
We might even invite Kyle.
Kyle should be
and we'll
part of
all
it.
go out and we'll do a family photo with Santa.
Do we wear matching sweaters?
Yes, we have to wear matching sweaters. I don't know what color we need to go with. Nick, you got an idea?
Miller Lite Christmas sweaters.
Perfect. That's the way we do
I
it.
honestly think this is a pretty good idea.
I do too. I think
All
it would be awesome.
I've always liked those Miller Lite Christmas sweaters.
We'll get you one.
I
Can we
still haven't
get
unwrapped
Santa
mine. I still
a
have it in my
beard?
closet. I can do it, huh?
What if Santa can have a Miller Lite?
Yes.
While we're he can
all
do
of
that.
us.
We just need to bring it out.
How much do
bring
these
the
cost?
I can work it out.
Awesome.
I
Thank
got
you.
connections.
Cool. Just let me know.
Anyways, if you don't have connections, though, you can go to visit thestarinfrisco.com/Santa.
All right, it's happening tomorrow. Got it?
That sounds
Got it?
way more fun than what we were talking about. So,
all right, let's get back in some of that fun.
Okay.
I did hear a quote from Jerry Jones this morning on his radio show here with RJ and Sean and RJ on The Fan. And here's the quote, and I want to get your opinions on what you think it means. He says, "We haven't met with Urban Meyer." He says, "I don't want to imply that we wouldn't. The implication is you're not interested. That shouldn't be the thought that followed either." I like how you laughed there, Nick.
It's just
thoughts.
I'm not interested, but I'm not interested.
Right.
It's just covering himself in case the future he wants to talk to him. It's not, well, you said a couple
You
weeks ago you
said
didn't
you
want to
didn't.
talk
Yeah.
to me.
he also, and a lot of people have pointed this out to me today. He said, "We have not talked to any coach. Urban Meyer is not a coach. He is an analyst right
That's
now."
correct.
So, just saying.
So smart.
I did a massive double take. I was listening in the car.
I was too.
And I was just like, did he just say that even though he hasn't talked to him, he doesn't mean he's not interested?
I actually started just laughing out loud. Like,
no.
I can't believe he just said that. That's funny.
I was nervous because I was like, am I mishearing this and I'm going to get in trouble when I tweet it? Like, because that, to me, Jerry Jones has gone out of his way to back Jason Garrett, and he's not going to do something during the season, and he still, I assume, won't.
Right.
But he's out here, 5 days before a game, 3 games to play, playoffs still in play. And he's like, well, yeah, I mean, I might be interested in talking to some people, which, not that you're surprised to hear that, but I'm surprised to hear him say it in public.
I will say this, like I shouldn't say we all, me and Nick lived through a time when Jerry was publicly not saying he was looking for a coach and was having meetings with his next coach, Bill Parcells, trying to figure out if he was the right guy. And so I think that when you're dealing with these kind of situations, you have to be very careful if you're in Jerry's position, because anything you say, as in the case of this, can be used for or against you, right? And so you have to be very careful with what you say, but you also got to be thinking about the current and the future of your organization. Yeah. And if you're going to make a coaching change, you better have a short list of guys and be prepared to make that change before you fire someone. I think the worst thing you can do as the manager of any business is fire someone and not have a replacement option. Like, if you don't have a plan already set up, then you're doomed to fail if you're going to just fire someone and not have a plan.
Well, they don't have to. He doesn't have to fire Jason Garrett. The contract will run out. But like you said, I mean, he was sitting on the runway meeting with Bill Parcells, I think the day or the weekend before that game against the Eagles. Yeah. And so in 2002, and Campo was asked about it, and it was really awkward. And so it's the same thing here. I mean, Garrett, how does your team respond? That team responded with losing that game like 27-3. So like that didn't do anything. Like that they weren't good enough to beat the Eagles that day. And I don't know if the Cowboys are good enough to beat the Rams. But as Dave always says, a great analogy of just when you think, they finally killed off Michael Myers and it's over, like, this is it. All right, roll the credits. Finally, it was just, this is it.
But this would be the comeback of all comebacks. This is like the end of Halloween 8, where like he's been lit on fire and shot a million times and had the cement truck dumped on him.
Hanging off.
Yeah, and then the girls hugging her dad. She's like,
we made it.
That's over.
We made it. We're alive.
Oh, I'm sorry. I never want to ever think about that again. It's like, that's it.
This would be the escape of all escapes. Short of tampering, like obviously Jerry can't talk to other NFL clubs' coaches, but like short of tampering, I would be doing my due diligence on anybody that I might be able to talk to.
Right.
Well, Urban Meyer, Mike McCarthy's not working. I don't know, whatever.
I would be absolutely shocked. I'd be absolutely shocked if Jerry or Steven or whoever is having to think about these kinds of things doesn't at least, even if just in their minds, have a short list in their minds of, if we are going to move away from our coach, who would we be looking at to possibly replace him? If they're not doing that, to me, that would be irresponsible. I would be absolutely shocked.
Still strange, maybe not strange, but surprising that he would say something like that on the radio the week before a game while also backing Jason Garrett. But that's the Cowboys.
It's been an interesting couple of weeks, though, with
every
statement.
Every time I think I've been part of the weirdest season, I'm wrong. 2017 still takes the cake for me. I mean, 2008 was pretty wild for y'all.
This
I'm
is
sure.
2008. But what happened in 17 again? I mean,
everything.
What?
Zeke suspension, national anthem. Everybody got hurt. They couldn't do anything without Tyron. I mean, the team just absolutely fell apart without Tyron Smith. I'm probably forgetting some stuff. Lucky Whitehead's dog, the index card
I forgot
incident.
about Lucky and his dog.
I mean, 2017 just goes on and on and on.
The index card to me is still that's just the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Like, the more it goes on, I just that's part of the rules. Like, if you just can't figure it out, you have to just. I don't even remember who had the ball. Did the Cowboys have the ball?
Cowboys had the ball. They went for it, and they wound up. They went down and scored after.
But the index card putting there showed that it was.
It was that close. Like, he put the card in there and it like grazed the football.
So it's
and
like,
that was proof enough
down.
for Gene Steratore. And he was smirking.
And he had that smirk look
he was
on his
smirking
face,
the whole time.
Yeah.
God, that was weird.
It was.
Yeah.
You dubbed Jeff Heath the GOAT that game.
Jeff Heath's been the GOAT since way before then. Was
he kicking field goals that year? Was that the year?
16 was the field goal year, and then 15 he led the team in picks, and he's been a playmaker. That's all he does.
Which team?
Don't ask that question.
I like Jeff, but yeah, I mean, he's had. I tell you what, Jeff versus future Hall of Famers has not gone well.
No.
Now, when he goes up against Adrian Peterson and Calvin Johnson and maybe Jimmy Graham,
gonna dog my man for stuff that happened when he was an undrafted rookie.
I know.
That's okay.
Well, he had a moment last year.
No, but I mean, like,
what was his moment?
That play we were just talking about, wasn't that a part of his work?
I don't remember.
The last play of the game against the Rams?
Yes.
Like, wasn't that part of his resume?
He also picked off a future Hall of Famer in the playoffs before that.
He let Robbie Anderson go 90.
It's all right.
Just saying.
Are we doing the autopsy of Jeff Heath's career?
I got it. We can do this about everybody.
You're right. Everybody on this team, we can probably go through a dossier of plays that
2008 had a bunch of off-field drama, didn't it? Just like a ton.
T.O. was here. Yeah.
Was that the year of the helicopter flying over his place after the supposed?
No.
What year was that? Because that might have been the craziest experience I've ever had.
He wasn't with the Cowboys, was he?
I thought he was still with the Eagles when that happened.
No. I'm talking about the overdose. I'm talking about the overdose. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
But what about? I mean,
he was with the Cowboys then.
Pac-Man was in 08, wasn't he?
Tank Johnson,
Tank with the stuff in the trunk of the car.
In 2008, there was a big.
See, that's what's
story.
crazy about this year to me is like they're so up and down and there's so much weird stuff going on. They're not playing well. But there's no like drama. That none of the drama that typically
the whole drama is just y'all can't play.
The drama is just that we thought y'all were really good and you're not. Like that's the drama.
08 had drama because that was the year that T.O. said that Witten and Romo go out to practice and draw up plays in the dirt.
No, when he said they were in their hotel rooms the night before games, making up plays.
Which the ironic part of that was the 44-6 game at the end of the season against the Eagles when they had a chance to win it. They lost terribly.
Yeah.
There was the weirdest play you've ever seen where they like run the ball to Witten or T.O. and he throws it back to Witten, and when Witten throws it, maybe I don't remember something. It was like one of the better plays of the year, though. You remember that?
I don't remember.
So it was better than. Did you get tweeted about the flea flicker that went 2 yards last night?
Yeah. Any flea flicker in any football game televised, I get a tweet.
It
doesn't matter. Miami, Ohio versus Youngstown State. Flea flicker.
It would have worked gangbusters if Nate Solder could protect the left side, but it is what it is.
Could not. All right, we appreciate you guys joining us. We are back tomorrow, normal time, 11:45. Till then, Nick Eatman, Dave Hellman, Danny Shrek. This has been The Break live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?